Okay, I'm gonna get started again. So welcome back. I hope you had a good lunch and suitably powered up. We'll try to go through this and try not to put you to sleep. I know when you have food, it's really hard to stay awake, especially in this nice, cozy, warm room with lots and lots of other human warmth. Okay, so we're going to go over levels of achievement. I think some of you have heard parts of this, but never hurts to be more clear about it. Okay. So what we're going to do for the next 30 minutes is go through projects and level of achievements. We're going to also cover some of the mentor proposed projects. They're actually already available on Slack. So if you go to the general channel, you scroll down in Slack, you should be able to see that. I think I have Slack open here. Yeah. So you go down and you can go to get those channel details, and then you can find the pinned items. This is the quickest way to find file chats in Slack. So you can say, okay, here, this one I did around 1 o'clock last night, so this morning, and then down here you can find the mentor proposed projects. So you can go there if you want to take a look at that. We're also going to cover some of the past projects. Actually, I don't know. How many of you noticed that there were some posters outside? Oh yeah. Those are people's, some of your alumni splashdown projects that they finished last year. Some of them are from alumni who are now your advisors. And we're going to be covering a couple of their projects. Tomorrow I'm going to rotate them. So actually, all those posters that you see outside are sponsored by Google. They give us money to have you print nice color posters to put up. And then we recycle them. I mean, really, literally recycle them when they're up there again from last year. So you get to see them again. So, what can I tell you? What about projects? What can you do for a project? Well, you can pretty much do anything you'd like, right? You can solve your own problem. I think about 1/3 of our cohort, that means like 1/3 of this room is going to end up doing NUS related projects, right? Because, man, I'm an NUS student. There's a lot of pain in NUS. I'm going to solve that. That's close to home, all right? Haze is important. Maybe some of you will deal with Haze. That would be great. Some of you can solve other people's problems. That's what the mentor proposed problems are for. But you could also do other things, right? You could just say, you know, I always wanted to learn how to program a mobile app. I never had a chance to, so maybe I'm going to try it today. You know, this summer I'm going to do that. And I have a buddy who's willing to do that as well. Okay, you might say, well, no, I've wanted to create a game, or I wanted to do something with drones or quadcopters, or you know, any other thing. Build a Chrome extension, build a browser extension. All of those things are fine. Or you could do a project that's sort of related to your program study, right? So some of you are from CS. How many of you are in CS? Oh yeah, that's it? Are you kidding? Wait. This is the School of Computing, right? Yeah? Let's try that again. How many of you are from CS? Yeah, give yourselves a hand. Oh, that was pretty sad. I'm sure our IS colleagues can do better, right? Who's from Information Systems? Okay, it's not working very well. All right, what about business analytics? All right, a smattering of people and information security. Yay, Juliana, here's Juliana. Big thumbs up to high five for Juliana. Okay, what about comp biology? Do you have any comp bio people here? Yeah, you guys are the minority. If I see one hand up, that's pretty good. Okay, but anyways, all of you doing your different programs of studies might have some other project that you'd like to do that relates to that, right? So if you're information security, you could try to do some white hat hacking into some systems. You know, that's what we practice as part of our information security course. And if you're in business analytics, you can take some of the data, for example, from data.gov.sg, you try to meld it with other things, and then come up with an interesting cross-case study. Okay? Every week nowadays, I hear people in our school winning hackathons, right? Oh yeah. So you could also prepare for that too. You know, there's hackathons all the time in Singapore, and there's no better way to boost your resume than to say you entered and you won a competition. You could spend a good part of Orbital just preparing for this competition, right? So they tell you, okay, it's going to be a 24-hour hackathon. Who cares? Yeah, you can finish it in 90 days, right? You spend 89 days, and then you go to the 24-hour hackathon, and you, bam, okay, score that. Okay, no problem, right? You can also do hardware-related projects. Anyone from comp engineering? Yeah, those of you that compulsory final year projects, yes. Okay, so if you're in comp engineering and you have two schools to pay attention to, school computing and school engineering, you could also do a hardware-related project. You're going to do Arduino or a Raspberry Pi. This is the time, right? I mean, those things are cheap. It's not hard to buy, right? Then you could go fiddle with it. You can get started on this IoT stuff right away, right? Okay, so let's make it clear. Can I get you guys to calm down a little bit because my throat is already hoarse, even with the microphone turned on so high. You can change your team name any time you like. You can change it so often that your advisors and your teammates and your fellow teams will be confused what you're doing and what your name is, okay? You can also change your level of achievement at any time. It's up to you. You just change it to meet the level that you think you're catered to, okay? Of course, we think that the basic project that we're pitching is pretty simple, that everyone in this room will be able to accomplish it. We don't want to set the bar too difficult, and by golly, you guys are all pretty good. I think you'll have no problem handling that, okay? So what is a Vostok level project? Well, that's easy, right? It's what we're going to teach you during liftoff. Right? We're going to go through Python tomorrow. Jai is going to go through Python. And then right after that, Lee-san is going to go through the Google App Engine implementation of Fight Haze, which he created. Okay? And if you do follow that recipe, but change some of the string constants, right? To match whatever thing you're doing, you're going to end up with a CRUD app. Okay, not a cruddy app, okay? CRUD stands for create, replace, update, and delete, right? Meaning that it's something that you can insert records to, like, for example, pledges of Fighting Haze, delete them, and then find out who's done those things, okay? Backed by a database. And that will qualify you to pass Orbital if you do that in at least 130 hours. Okay, it has to take at least that long, okay? Because that's how much 4MC's worth of credit is, okay? So why do we do this project? Because we think it's really the easiest, simplest way of starting a web application, all right? Python is an extremely easy language. Many of you already know it. If you don't know it, you'll learn it soon. And it's something that we are teaching K through 12 now, right? Okay? And Google App Engine has the easiest deployment. You just click a button and somehow it gets on the cloud, all right? So it's nice because all of these things you develop on your own laptop, but you click a button and it becomes live on the web. Then when you want to show anyone, like a potential person who's going to hire you for an internship, you just show them the URL. See, I built that, right? You can look at it anywhere in the world, in any time zone, okay? Then you can see what I've done, okay? But if you're aiming, if you already know ahead of time, okay, I know I'm going to do something better than that, then you might try for Project Gemini teams or Apollo teams, try to use a different stack, okay? Because Google App Engine is pretty limited. There are not a lot of demands for this, but it is one of the easiest systems to start with, okay? For example, you could decide, I want to do Python because I sort of know it, or I've heard good things about it, but maybe I want to invest a little more in the web application stack. Then you could try Flask, you could try Django, or any of these other names that you might have heard of. If you never heard of them, don't worry, you will soon. Project Gemini, right? So a lot of you are asking, what's Project Gemini? I think I can do intermediate. I'm not really sure what that is, okay? Basically, if you're not doing Vostok, you're doing at least Project Gemini, right? So Project Gemini means if you're building a web app, you're using any other type of stack or enhancing what you've already done for your basic project, okay? That could be, for example, using Node.js or React or Python with other web frameworks on top, like Flask and Django. Or if you prefer to learn Ruby on Rails, or you want to do some type of mobile app development, all those are Project Gemini, okay? Because they're a little harder. They require you to do a little bit more research, okay? So as I said in the first point, basically, any non-web app, okay, phone apps are included in this category, okay, are Project Gemini. Okay, so you want to build an iOS app using C# or Swift, or you want to do a Droid app using Java, that already counts as Project Gemini. Okay, what do you need to do on top of deciding which architecture? Well, you have to do some extra work. Right? You have to decide and show your peers that beyond the basic capability of a hello world type of app in that framework, you can enhance it with free extra features. All right? So for example, I want to be able to plug Facebook in, right? Somehow. Or I want to plug in lots of different social networks using a third-party integrator. Do that. Okay? I want to pull data from somewhere else. API use. I want to be able to show maps, for example. Okay, that's fine. I want to be able to export my data so that the user isn't made it a captive in my system. They can take their calendar data to somewhere else, for example. Okay, or I can have an administrative front end. Instead of having just a normal user, I will also be able to build an administrative front end for administrator, right? So that they don't have to use the command line, okay? Some things like, for example, if you know Django or have heard of it, they build you this administrative front end for free. So you get like one extra feature right away, okay? So you also have to do a little bit of work in making your project not so terrible, right? So your average team rating for your own project must be at least 3 out of 5. Your teammates may say, yeah, that looks like a respectable project. Doesn't look so terrible. At least the UI sort of cleaned up. Okay? And at least not terrible feedback to other groups. They have to at least hear something useful once in a while from you. Okay? So we don't think those requirements are too tough. But we hope even more of you will try the next one. All right? Which is after Project Gemini, so I'll just skip this slide, to Apollo 11. So ostensibly, this course is 130 hours, but some people get so engrossed in doing their project, they spend 500 hours. Okay, so like they've done a whole semester's worth of work just for Orbital because they like what they're doing. That's great. So the sky's the limit. So what are we doing? We find that people come to second year SOC, they take software engineering, they do a good job. But not good enough because they never did any software engineering on their own before. Okay, so when Damit or other lecturers in the class tell you about software engineering, it just goes in one ear, out the other ear, because you don't have a chance to practice it. Okay, so you're going to practice now, so that when you get to software engineering, you're going to say, oh man, I did my Orbital project all wrong. Okay, I was supposed to do it this way. I was supposed to use source code control. I was supposed to do continuous integration. I was supposed to use Agile. I was supposed to use MVC. Okay, all of those things you are going to learn by trial and error in this course. Up to you. Okay, but you're going to learn it formally later after you have some industry experience. How many of you know the requirements to go to business school typically for masters? You know that most business students don't go to business school right after they graduate, right? They don't take the master's right away. They have to have some industry experience, right? That's exactly what we're doing here. We're giving you industry experience that you do yourself. So when you go to software engineering, the lessons that you'll learn there will make sense, right? It's sort of funny to learn like binary search and bubble sort when you don't actually need to use it, right? Okay, so that's the whole point. We're going to teach you software engineering by not teaching you software engineering. Okay? So what do you need to do? You have to do things for project Apollo 11 by doing things like project management, user testing, thinking about data security, whether your things are secure or not, whether it can be spoofed and attacked easily. Maybe you need to be able to scale your application easily or be able to integrate new code requests on a continuing basis. And good version control. Okay, you have to be able to have at least average on your feedback to other teams. So instead of 2.2 out of 5, 3 out of 5, you have to have at least a good project. Okay, most of your peers say, yeah, that's pretty interesting. I would actually think about using that if I had time. Okay. So you can read the technical description. This is on our Orbital website, but as I mentioned on slide, our Orbital website VM is currently down. I don't know why. As of this morning, it's down. So I have to pull this from Google's cache. Okay. Anyways, you can look at it when it's live again. Okay. I hear this a lot. Is my project Apollo 11, or maybe it's a Project Gemini? I don't know. Maybe it's bossed up because I can't tell. Okay, so the answer is up there. It is that you can convince your peers that it is. Right? We are not going to grade, we saw an I that we're 2 people. You guys are like 300. You outnumber us, by magnitude. We're not going to grade your projects. Okay? You are going to grade each other. If you can convince your peers that what you've done is worth that level of achievement, and the requirements are intentionally left very vague. Okay, it's your job to argue. Okay, I demand I get at least Project Gemini. Okay, take it or leave it. Right? Okay, so you have to show convincing evidence of that through your documentation, through your project log, through your video. Okay. Is it feasible to do X or Y for my project? I was thinking of doing, like a Facebook home, but, add video and then add, like LinkedIn and all this other stuff, and then put together a wave wall, and then, put all of that on a mobile client. Is that Project Gemini? And probably many of your advisors will tell you, no, that's probably not. It's probably too hard to do over one summer. Okay, but you can still do those types of projects, but take it in small chunks, okay? So doing any long-term project means you have to turn it into small, bite-sized chunks that you're gonna eventually upgrade and upgrade until you get something big enough that you think is worthwhile to showcase to everyone, all right? At each milestone, remember you have a milestone at the end of each month, right? Have something showable. You're gonna see in some of these videos, it's quite funny. They'll say, well, this application doesn't quite work yet, but it will when we get, okay. You don't want to be dumb, right? You want to have something finished and showable where you have an intermediate stopping point where you can do the marketing, right? You're convincing your peers, this was worth Project Gemini. That was worth Apollo 11, okay? So you need help with that, ask. That's what your advisors are for. That's what your mentors are for. That's what us 2 are for, okay? We'll give you a reality check, okay? You want a big project? Fine. Cut it up into small pieces that are really, really, really easy to do, even if you don't think they might be really easy, okay? And then implement that, and then get some confidence and go big, all right? So again, the milestones are roughly like this. You have until the end of May to come up with an idea, okay? So even though you're going to do ignition tomorrow, you're going to come on stage and pitch your project for 1 minute. You're not tied or bound to that. Like I said, you can change your idea, your team name. You can change your partner, maybe not. You can change your level of achievement as often as you like. Okay, but make sure that you document it well and that you can convince your peers you're on the right track. Okay, by June, end of June, some prototyping needs to be done. Okay, by the end of July, most of it should be done. You should be looking at refinements, dealing with criticism of your project that other people have fed back. Okay, and by August, mid-August, you're going to have splashdown. You have to be able to show the world what you did. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you for this. But I think it's good to go through some of the other parts. Okay, in Skylab, actually, we have access to all of the submissions from last year. So in fact, we can show you some of them, right? So let's first take a look at what we wrote on Facebook. So outside in the foyer, you have seen some posters, hopefully. So there are some, like this one's a Project Gemini poster. I couldn't figure out what this was. Neither could I figure out this. Okay, but some of these we're going to go through and take a look at what they did for their final milestones. So you have some idea of what you're looking for as what you have to do. Okay. Okay, so when you log into Skylab, you'll see something like this later on. You see your team members and then the teams that are going to be evaluating. Yeah, this is a nice name. I had a hard time typing that one. Okay. And teams that are evaluating them. Okay. So you get to evaluate three teams get to evaluate you. Okay. So if you log in as yourself, you'll belong to a team once you're associated that. And you're going to look at the forms that you submit. Okay, so for example, for milestone 1, you have to turn in something like this. Okay, and some people have actually linked out to other places to show what they've done. So this person, I think, wrote it on GitHub. So you can see what types of information they put together. So this is their README. This is what they compiled on their own. But you can use the editor that's within Skylab to write something here. It's actually not so terrible. Spend some time getting that done. Okay, but you can write your README anywhere. Basically, you need to have a link for your peers to assess what you've done. So this person, they used the Trello to give you cards to show you what things they needed to do, the user stories. I'll talk about those another time. And some mock-ups of what they want to be able to do. Okay, so this was what they did for their first documentation. So this was an Apollo 11 team. So if you guys are looking like this, whoa, that's too much work. I'm out already. Okay, don't worry. This was one of the groups that wanted to do a lot of work. Okay? All right, I'll show you a couple others since we're here. Let's see. Okay, maybe this is not a good one. I'm in the wrong team. Okay, never mind. Okay, so I did want to go through some of the final projects that were created. This is, I chose 3 of them that were outside that we had access to. So if you go outside, you'll see, I think, a couple of these. Let's see, which one is this one? Give me a minute here. Okay, this is Food Point, this project. So you can see what they did.
Information about food places.
Oops, let me put that in.
In a fast-moving environment like Singapore, time is precious, and users may want to find particular foods quickly. They may also look for food around the area quickly. You want a brief summary of the area.
So basically what they're doing is they're narrating what they built, okay, so that the evaluators can go through all the screens and decide whether they think they meet a certain level of requirement.
You all points have been uploaded by everyone. Search for points by keyword. So integrate. After clicking integrate, user will be presented with an add a new point. Here, the user can specify the name, the address, description. After a few options, order for this all to work, every field without any blank will record in error.
Okay, so basically they go on narrating this one. So I'll stop here. I'm going to show you what they submitted for this this particular one. Okay, so for example, this is the type of thing that you'll have to fill out, some type of README form that describes what they're doing, some user stories. This is for the first iteration. We'll talk about the 3 milestones later on, tomorrow. Okay, and then their project log. So the project log is where you convince your fellow teammates, not your teammates, your peer teams that you've spent Indeed are on target to finish 130 hours worth of work. Okay, so you have to write down what you've done and then see whether your peers agree with that or not. Okay. Then you have your video link. So for milestone 1, you're actually creating your video tomorrow. Okay, we will record ignition, and then you can find your piece of ignition and then link to it as part of your first video. So you don't have to create a video. You can just use the one that you're going to present tomorrow. Okay? Okay, I'll show you the project, the Apollo 11 team that you saw earlier.
What we have here now is the landing page. So we are going to log in. I'm going to use the tester1 account. We have removed the requirement for it to be an email so that users find it easier to sign up with. Okay, this is our login page. And now I shall log in to tester2 on the other browser, the other section.
So these guys need 2 different accounts so that you can see.
Okay, now that we have tester1 and tester2 logged in,
Okay.
you can see that they currently haven't posted any activities. Neither do they have any invites. So let's try creating an event. So let's call it welcome event. Let's set it to 3 AM. Occasion NUS associate. Welcome.
You guys are all awake at 3 AM.
And shall create an event. When the event creation is successful, it will lead you to the details page. So here we are. If you look at the URL, you can see that
I'll fast forward a little bit here so you can see some other things. So basically, when you compile the videos again, you're walking through all the screens so that you can show what you've done.
milestone 2, and this is the one that we are showing for milestone 3. So some of the functionalities are not ported over yet. Yep. This, I suppose, the greatest changes for this milestone is the UI updates. Now we have a nicer looking UI.
You can see this team concentrated on refinements. They said they're going to change their UI to make it look nicer. Those look pretty nice.
See that you're logged in. This person and click here to log out.
Okay, so you get the idea. All right, so hopefully with that information, you have a little bit better idea about how you're going to finally come up with your project idea and how you're going to work towards a level of achievement, okay? For those of you who are uncertain, my advice to you is to try for project Vostok first, okay, Vostok level project first. See whether you're able to handle the HTML, CSS, and the Python and Google App Engine. And then once you finish that, hopefully by the end of May or early June, then you can try to convince yourself that you're ready to go on for something like Project Gemini by enhancing your project with other things, okay? So we have some guests in the back of the room. These are folks from NOC who are just upstairs, so they've kindly come down to give you a little bit more detail about NOC. So we have Jean and Joe. So let's welcome down. Any slides? Yeah.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay, well, while we're setting up the slides, can I have a show of hands who already attended our round one session? Okay, good. Anybody knows about NOC? Don't know about NOC? Okay, so most, I'm glad we are here. And you know that you have compulsory, oh, we SOC, right? Anybody from engineering?
Quite a lot.
Cool. Business too? This one is, Orbital is open for all faculty as well, right?
Yes.
FSS, science? Okay. Did I miss out any? Law? Well, good. Medical school? Okay, we have students asking, from medical school whether they can join NUS. Well, they're more than welcome to join, just that the faculty will not allow them to go. Okay, so even law is quite a bit different, but we do have quite a lot of, I would think that almost 10 law students been on our program before. Okay, so this is just a very quick one because I just need like 15 minutes of your time, and I'm glad that Prof. Kang is actually part of our steering committee. That's why he actually invited us to come by to give you a talk. And engineering students and SOC students, you know that you have compulsory IA, which is the industrial attachment, or we call it internship. NOC can use to fulfill. And for engineering students, if we can find a company that goes with what you study, you can map your entire FYP. All right. So we will want to encourage more students to go for the program because I think your seniors have done that, they all benefit from it. And it's all about, I would say, joining a startup and experience the life there, all right? So we have all these locations. I'm sure some of them attracts you because you might actually be, in the sense that like Silicon Valley and Stockholm and all these places as well. We also just announced, it's actually on the news, that we're going to have two locations as well, one in Germany and one in Switzerland. And so now it's only open for engineering students under the GEP and master students. Well, potentially maybe from next year onwards, we might open up to all SOC students as well. All right, so those are for 6 months program. And these are the locations that majority of them, if later I go into details, so maybe the next slides. Okay, and you know that we work very closely with partner university. All right, so you're able to do a full-time internship plus part-time study at the partner university and able to get credit out of it. So not necessarily saying, oh, I just work full-time and not going for classes. You do go for classes and you fulfill the academic part as well. Okay, there's MCs awarded to you. And this hopefully you can, with NOC, you can graduate within 4 years. All right, and while these are somewhat incentive because you can earn up to, depends on which location, up to 36 MCs or beyond. Because each year, most of you might actually have up to around 5 modules, will be 40 MCs per year. All right, NOC, certain colleges, you can go beyond 48. Okay, depends whether you have modules to map as well. All right. If you can go to our website, this is actually on our website. Most of the SOC students, you can map it to your IA and some of the modules, depends on your major, all right? So we don't need to go through the details because August, we're gonna have a talk about how you map your modules, how you can graduate on time and things like that, right? This will be relevant for all of you. This is too small to see engineering. This is also quite small. Okay, so we have a list of companies on our website. We do update every 6 months. So those companies, like according to different colleges, we actually update the list of companies. You can go in and check it out. If you're having a technical background, it's excellent for most of the companies in all the different countries. Okay, it doesn't matter you are from, even non-technical students, even your preference of FSS, science and all this, it's actually really open for all of them because you can go in to do a different role, right? Okay, I'm going to do something which okay, because we say that you have to go through intermediate level above for your Orbital in order to skip round 1. So for all students right now here, you can take my word for it. All joining Orbital, whether basic, intermediate, or whatever level, or skip round 1. Okay, those already attended round 1, don't worry, your result will be out this month. Okay, so you have a chance to apply again in August and say you join Orbital. We will skip round 1 for you. Okay, so all of you, of course, I need to check your attendance whether you join Orbital from Fokang. Okay, so I will double check with Fokang that you actually really join Orbital. Okay, and all of you will skip round 1. You go straight to round 2. How does it sound? Okay, you heck care about these slides, huh? This slide is not valid. Later my boss will scream at me, but I feel the attendance for Orbital, this is excellent. I mean, we need students like you guys join such Orbital program and do something that you're really passionate about. It's just the NOC. If you're passionate about doing things in startup and things like that, this is the right program for you. Okay, these are all, anybody use Carousel? Okay, hope to have more people who use Carousel. I'm helping them to market, but don't face me. Because they are really, those people after joining NOC, they started their own company and they're doing very, very well. Okay, they received several fundings as well. Alright. So okay, just to add on, so we are part of NUS Enterprise, we are at level 5 of this building. If you actually really have some business idea, even the level 1, if you walk past, you see the handle, right? It actually belongs to NUS Enterprise as well. So we actually provide incubation space, grants, and all these things, even for students. Yeah, if you can apply for some practical grants that we have and things like that to actually fulfill your dreams, you want to start a company. But before you start a company, join NOC because we'll help you even more. Alright? Okay, that's all I have to say. If you have any question, you can shoot us an email, NOC query, and we'll try to answer your questions. But do remember, you join Orbital, you skip round 1 of NOC. You go straight to round 2. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
So if you guys have any quick questions, the mics are here. You can ask right away. Actually, you may not know, a lot of your advisors are not here today. Why? Because they're busy with NOC. Yeah, they're over in Utah receiving NOC training, so they can't actually be here. So they're with you on Slack in spirit, but they're actually busy with things of this
Yeah, actually most of them, you're
yeah.
all on class.
So if you have any questions about NOC, you want to get the dirt on NOC, ask your advisor. They can tell you. No, NOC is a really good program. I think it's one of the hallmarks of NUS, and it's really one of the best ways that you can spend some time abroad. You know, not just studying, doing something that's going to, for sure, change your life. I don't know any student who's gone on the NOC and come back and say, meh. Okay, so that's not happening. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for.
Let's get another hand for our NOC folks. Okay, so we're at the next stage where we're actually just supposed to do some project brainstorming, but I wanted to show you some of the mentor proposed projects so that you have a chance to think about what other things you could do. You can go through on Slack. Let's see what I can find the Slack screen. Here it is. Okay. All right, too many tabs open. Any of you have this problem? Okay. Mentor proposed projects are for pretty much only people in this room who are not really sure what they want to do this summer, but they know they want to do something and they would like some help with that. So our own lecturers and some of our own mentors have decided that they have some things that they don't mind doing and that they're willing to discuss with you. So if you happen to want to take up any of these projects, come this evening from 6:30 to 8. The mentors will be there. Again, if you want mentorship, you don't have to take any of their projects. In fact, there's only 5 of them. Okay. Wee-sun has his own project. He didn't manage to get the slide in because I didn't fix the link properly. That's my fault. But my point is that there are plenty of mentors, about 20 of them, that are coming down tonight just to have the opportunity to meet you guys. Okay? So why don't you just take it upon yourselves and talk with them and then see whether you find a good connection, all right? Orbital is about meeting people in partner, right? You meet your partner, you meet your mentor, you meet your peer teams, etc. Okay, so Jin, who's a lecturer in our school, he's actually one of my PhD students, well, was a long time ago. He is part of the Computing Alumni Association, CAA, and CAA needs a website built, okay? They need a portal and membership and event portal built, and they are thinking of helping, mentoring a team that's interested to do this. This is basically a CRUD app, okay? You have to insert records for memberships and for events and to be able to display them, okay? You can take a look at the slide. Sorry, it's a little fuzzy on this screen, okay? Jason Chu, who's also an NOC alumni. He's also won, I guess, I don't know how many hackathons, at least I think 15 or something like that. So he went to NYC for his NOC internship, and while he was busy full-timing at an internship and studying at NYU, he managed to go to hackathons almost every weekend and win quite a number of them for the school. And he's come up with this idea to build a project task scheduler. He actually has his own startup also funded in NOC, NUS Enterprise, and he's willing to help students with this. Okay, so you'll have to acquire some of these on the way. Meteor and Node, MongoDB, and of course web design. Everyone loves web design. Okay, Calvin, who you meet you're gonna take on a lot of things under this project: MVC, RESTful web design, Spark, NoSQL, and basic machine learning even. Okay, so if you're interested in this project, you could think about talking with him about that in the evening. Again, you can see pictures of most of our mentors. If you go to Slack and you look at the prospective mentors, they're all usually there. Okay. Oh yeah, we have Skylab, right? So I'm gonna mentor a team if you guys are interested to enhance Skylab. We had an FRP student who did a fabulous job of this, and he's built a really solid base for you to do git clone and then do a lot of other things off of that code base. And then you can modify it to enhance the user interface, to give more functionality so that we can give more public-facing recognition to all the students like you who go through Skylab. Okay, so these are the mentor proposed projects that we have. Again, if you already have your own project idea, please stick with that. We find that Orbital pretty much only works because students are interested in. If you don't have an interest, we can warp your mind for you, no problem. Okay, we can brainwash you and say, this was your idea, why don't you do this? Okay, all right. Okay, with that, we're going to finish here, and we're going to spend the next, let's see, 45 minutes brainstorming with your partner. Those of you who do not have a partner yet, you can come with me to the iCube seminar room. Hopefully it's open. I think I made arrangements for that. So we can have a quick powwow there and talk shop, okay? So we'll see you roughly at 2:30 for the next thing, which will be Winston's talk on Agile. So we'll see you then, okay? So get noisy, talk to each other, start to create your PowerPoint slide or PDF slide, whatever you want. Arrange your skit for being up here for 1 minute.